All right, what's going on, everybody? Mike D from the Hot Morning Show on Hot 106. We have a very big special guest joining us today. One of the greatest to do it right now, my man, Big E. Big E, what's going on, brother?
Not too much, man. Thanks for having me.
Of course, man, it's a pleasure. We are very excited. This week announced WWE Wrestlemania Backlash coming to the Dunk. This is actually the third time Backlash is going to be here in Providence. And I was at the last one. I'm really excited to be at this one.
Yeah, I didn't know that it was the third time. That's interesting. But yeah, man, it's exciting because it's the fallout after WrestleMania. Typically, we would call these terms. We would use the term pay-per-view, but a premium live event is now the term we're using. But yes, we're excited to be at the Dunk, man. And what a great! I always have fond memories of being at the Dunk. I don't know why. Every time I walk in, I don't know. I just think of like times that I've been there before. But yes, it'll be great to be back in Providence.
It's funny because we've heard that before. I remember we had Sheamus in here one year, and him and I think it was Cody. They had a fond memory that I think was between them. They didn't share it with us, but he did say he had some fond memories. And he liked saying the Dunk, which is always fun to hear Sheamus say that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It rolls off the tongue, you know?
It does roll off the tongue. And very excited here in Providence. Also, WrestleMania season, man. I mean, this is for a wrestling fan, if you know, it is one of the best times of the year. The rumors are swirling. You know, there's a lot of things happening right now. Is it as exciting for you still now as a superstar as it is for us fans?
Oh yeah, for sure, man. And like you said, I think the interesting thing right now is if anyone is a hardcore fan and you're paying attention, right now you have all these chess pieces floating around and all these names being discussed for the show of shows, WrestleMania. And, we're not far off at all, less than 2 months away from WrestleMania, which will be at the AT&T Stadium in Dallas, April 2nd and April 3rd. So we're excited, man. It's not far off at all.
Absolutely. And it's great that here in Providence, we get the first premium live event following WrestleMania, which we always know is a big, big deal, in the wrestling world. And not only that, I was actually at WrestleMania the last time it was in Dallas. It was an awesome time, as it always is. But one thing I wanted to ask you about, because we do play his music here, Wale does your intro song, Wale Mania. What's up with that? Any updates?
So right now, I am not privy to what happens with Wale Mania, but I know, so Wale Mania, for anyone who doesn't know, it's just a party, a cool party that happens. It'll happen at the site of WrestleMania every single year, right before WrestleMania. But, it's Wale just always goes out of his way to show the wrestling community so much love. And Wale, the one thing that I love is we become like real friends, that talk about life. And we were just actually in a flag football game where he won MVP a few days ago. But that's my guy, and it's such an honor. I was such a massive fan of him well before anyone even cared to know who I was or I was on TV. And the fact that my good friend and one of my favorite artists ever is the one who performs my solo entrance music is something that I think is really, really cool. But yeah, man, he's such a massive wrestling fan and has been for a long time. And Wale Mania is his way of just kind of giving back to the fans.
It's an awesome event. I went to the one in Dallas back in 2016. If you're a wrestling fan, I remember they had a great panel. The music is incredible. And I feel like between wrestling and hip hop, there's this kind of like this bond, right? Because not even just with Wale, we had a very popular song here, Ric Flair Drip, you know what I mean? Offset. There always is wrestling references. What do you think it is between hip hop and the wrestling community that makes it such a great bond?
I think there's just something that, wrestling is intentionally over the top and it's a comic book come to life in many ways. And I think there's just something that grabs the attention of artists who want to use that in their music and kind of have those personas. And so many of them kind of borrow from that. It's actually interesting. Obviously, The Weeknd is not a rapper, but I talked to his manager years ago, and it's interesting that he said that like he kind of took, for people who remember, when Weeknd first dropped, you really didn't know what he looked like. He had this real mystique around him. And his manager told me, I actually kind of took a lot of that from professional wrestling. I took that build and that mystery from pro wrestling. So I just think there's so much that artists borrow from pro wrestling, and so many of us are just huge hip hop fans, man. Hip hop is something that I listen to when I'm on a plane, when I'm driving from town to town, when I'm at the gym. It's a huge part of my lifestyle and the life on the road. So I think there's just such a natural synergy too. Plus, we also understand, like, man, he's on a tour bus oftentimes going from town to town, we're doing similar things, driving from city to city. So I think the similarities in lifestyle as well, there's a bit of a common bond there.
Absolutely. And they go hand in hand perfectly. Like you said, some of my favorite artists are just basically themselves turned up to 10, right? That's usually what they say about WWE superstars is, and we see that with you, especially with the New Day. It's incredible to see kind of where you guys began and how they kind of allowed you guys to develop into your personalities. And I mean, the merch, come on, man, the merch is insane. You guys were everywhere. I was at WrestleMania in Orlando. You guys hosted. What has that been like now to kind of be teaming up with Kofi again?
Man, it's I think the thing that's very humbling for me is we were just talking yesterday kind of about our beginnings and look back and think it was 8 years ago, 2014. And the fact, I think in wrestling, people can get tired of things very quickly. They want to move on. And I think the incredible thing is we still go out there. We're still getting great reactions. People still love seeing us out there. And I'm so humbled and appreciative of the fact that people have been behind us for so very long. A faction even lasting a year in this day and age is rare, but to go for 8 years, I know we've kind of, I was on a different show than those two were, and we've had moments where we kind of were doing our own different things, but there's never been a moment where I hit Kofi with a steel chair or Woods hit me with a low blow. We never turn on each other. It's always been love from the very beginning, and I'm appreciative of not only all the things we've been able to accomplish on screen, but man, I found people oftentimes talk about brotherhood, but there's a real brotherhood and a real bond with us. We root for each other outside of the ring, in the ring, and I couldn't be more grateful for this run with those guys.
And speaking of that, I do know you're an advocate of mental health. Obviously, having that support, brothers that you trust, being on the road with, I'm sure was a big factor for you having control of your mental health. I know a lot of people use wrestling as an escape, as their way to kind of get away from the day to day, to get out of their own head on Mondays and Tuesdays and Fridays and in the live events. So, what is some advice for those that are listening out there that maybe might be struggling with that right now?
Yeah, man. I think my advice is to be kind to yourself. I know a lot of people like myself, I'm someone who I've struggled with depression for a very long time. And I'm so grateful that now the last several years, I've been in a much better place. But, I think oftentimes we feel like we're a burden and that we need to suffer in silence and can't reach out to friends and loved ones, because in that moment of really struggling with your mental health, oftentimes you don't see things clearly. You don't see the amount of love that people have for you. You just can't see and feel that when you're in that dark place. So I would just encourage people who are struggling to please lean on those around you. Don't be afraid to seek help, to realize that your current situation is too much for you to handle. Getting help was one of the best things I ever did, with therapy, with medication. Meditation has been such a godsend for me. And thankfully, the one reason I like talking about it is because I think it helps break down that stigma. And the more people are expressive about what they're going through and don't feel the need to bottle it all in, I think it just helps. I think it helps so much. And my hope is that if we can help to save a life or two or three, just by sharing our story, just by sharing resources, by letting people know that it's okay to kind of take yourself out of the game for a little bit, to take care of yourself, that, we're not just put on this earth just to work. And I think oftentimes we're not kind enough to ourselves. We don't take the days off that we need. We don't seek help when we need to. And I would just encourage people to continue, just be kind to yourself and look out for you, man. We need you here. We do. We need you. Even if you can't see it, lean on those around you and get the help you need.
And coming from a larger than life personality like yourself, I think helping break that stigma, hearing people like you, just, this guy, he's just a beast in the ring. He's a great personality. You make everybody laugh and you just make people cry happy tears. To know that you've had your own struggles that you had to seek help for is honestly a truly an honorable thing to witness. And it's something that we appreciate as fans. And I'm glad that you use your outlet to be able to get that message out there.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And, kind of one of the things that I think kind of opened my eyes was, the passing of someone like a Robin Williams. You see these people who are just, you see them on screen and they just make you cry laughing because, they have so much joy, it seems, but deep down inside, they're suffering, and you never even realize how much they're suffering. So my hope is you can see people, and they don't have to be public figures, but you see these people who oftentimes look like nothing in the world it could ever go wrong in their life, but deep down they're hurting. So I just think the more we can tell these stories, the better.
Absolutely, man. Couldn't agree more. I wish we had some more time. Would love to get into a couple things that I know you're working on. Our Heroes Rock is something really dope that I was checking out, and I would love to talk to you about that sometime soon. I know we got the event coming up. Tell everybody listening right now why they should be at WWE WrestleMania Backlash May 8th at the Dunk.
Because there is nothing like being there live and in person, especially with the fallout from WrestleMania. I'm telling you, if you have the opportunity, if you're in the area, please head to the Dunk. Make sure you're there for WrestleMania Backlash. It's going to be an incredible show.
Thank you so much, brother. I can't wait. I will definitely be there. And listen, I might be in the doghouse. That's my fiance's birthday.
Oh,
So trying to convince her to go to the show with me is something I'm working on. All right. I got a little under 2 months.
yeah.
3 months, actually.
I hope you get a chance to be there, but please don't mess that up, man.
No.
Yes, don't mess that
No,
up.
we would have a good time. Maybe I'll plan something for the night before. Big E, my man. Maybe you got to stop in when you guys are in town.
Yeah. Hopefully we have time. Our schedule's always a blur, but I'd love to.
Yeah, that'd be dope, man. Appreciate it, Big E. Thank you so much for your time. WWE WrestleMania Backlash at the Dunk, May 8th. Get your tickets going on sale. Pre-sale starts right now. Go ahead.